The Eagles got question marks at safety. How's it going to shake out?
Yeah, I've always certainly been very curious of how our kind of safeties have been over the last couple of years. And, with last year, Gardner Johnson kind of, again, joining the team, during the season, just, came out lightning in a bottle. And, that was another wonderful, great move by Howie. But what I think was most important about last year is the development of Reed Blankenship. He came out of nowhere, didn't undrafted, and just absolutely had to play some minutes, stepped in there, got a pick off of Aaron Rodgers, his first pick, and really played some quality, meaningful minutes. Now obviously he's still a very young player, he's still a lot to learn, but now he's going to be relied upon to take one of those starting spots. And again, I'm really excited to kind of see how he does in this training camp, if he continues to rise, if he continues to take what he's basically being given. It's his for the taking, that starting spot. But what I think is more curious as well is the other spot. They brought in Edmonds, they drafted Sidney Brown. Technically, Kevon Wallace is still on the team, Justin Evans as well. But it's really between Terrell Edmonds and Sidney Brown. And I think when we all saw Sidney Brown get drafted, I think a lot of people, I know Dibes, we had talked about it many times, that this kid is exciting. And, I fully would love for nothing more than this kid to step up, take that spot, and have two young safeties, to go along with your veteran cornerbacks in Slay and Bradbury to make up our secondary. I think it's a good combination of youth and veterans. And, I think learning, together, that would build something in that safety room for years to come, hopefully. But, let's not sleep on Edmonds. Honestly, I think people are really not, maybe don't know a lot about him, don't expect much of him. But let's be honest. If Sidney Brown doesn't take to the playbook or is struggling a little bit, I think we'll be more than fine with Edmonds getting in there next to Reed and kind of bringing, again, he's been in the league for a couple of years. So I think right now you have to put Reed Blankenship in one of the starting spots, and then it's the battle between Sidney Brown and Edmonds, and to kind of see how this safety room shakes out. That's what I'm going to be looking forward to. I know there's certainly some other positions we're going to be talking about in just a second, but I think safety kind of gets lost in maybe the more popular training camp battles that we're going to be seeing here in less than 2 weeks.
Safety is very, very important. And the loss of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, though he was out a significant portion of the season as well, where Reed did come in and show he could fill, I just like that we actually have safeties now. The Eagles don't value the position, but there were times we would convert linebackers or use like off the skirt guys to like fill these holes where like Edmonds, Blankenship, Sidney Brown, they're actually safeties. So it's like they played the position and maybe we can build on that. And I think our two corners are going to help alleviate some pressure for that. Do you have anything to add, Dibes, with the safety position?
I think what the Eagles will miss most is Chauncey Gardner at the slot. He was that's what he was. That's where he was at his best. I'm with you, Ryan. Like, I think Reed Blankenship is a solid player. I thought he had an underrated season last year. There were it wasn't perfect. He did get beat, of course. But against the run, against the pass, he was pretty solid. And I don't know if we talk about him enough, maybe possibly taking the next step. Sidney Brown, he's a baller, man. I was on the Sidney Brown train for a long time, and he is a straight up athlete. Philly fans are going to love the way he can go sideline to sideline, make big plays behind the backfield. Sidney Brown is a really fun player. I don't really know much about Terrell Edmonds. I will when training camp starts. I'm going to be watching him because I don't watch a lot of Steelers games.
He's in Michigan. Is he a Michigan man? I feel like he's Michigan for some reason.
Well, I don't know.
I think so.
Michigan had
I'll Google
Virginia
it while you're talking.
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. All right.
So yeah, it's gonna be fun. And let's never bring up Kayvon Wallace ever again.
Seriously, can
Wait,
I
Kayvon
also
Wallace? I
just-
forgot.
Can I just add, please, for the love of God, can he just not be on our roster? Like, can we just end the weird experiment? It's not like he was drafted all that high. It's not like he's literally done anything while he's been in the NFL. Can we just get rid of him and just? I'd rather take either of you two. No offense, than Kayvon Wallace right now.
No. You want Kayvon Wallace rather than.
I don't know. I'm sick of him. I feel like every roster, every few years, there's an Eagle player that I just cannot stand and just hate and just want off this team. A couple of years back, it was Smallwood. Couldn't stand that guy. That guy kept sticking around like a rope. He just kept making a roster, and they wouldn't cut him. And finally, they got rid of him, and I was it's a happy day.
Howie, one of his flaws is like not giving up on a bad pick. And,
right.
One thing I hate is when they draft safeties that just stop the run. And that's Kayvon Wallace. And then you throw him in this, and it's like, dude, he clearly isn't fit for this. You should have got rid of him, but they keep holding on. But I'll tell you a quick story. The day his career ended was when I collect cards here and there. When I got my pack of cards and my rookie auto, the rookie autograph one comes out, was Kayvon Wallace. And I'm like, oh, there's no shot this is going to be worth anything because I picked it. So his career's over. That didn't happen. I mushed him. Sorry, Kayvon.
Yeah, if he finds a way to beat one of those top 3 guys to make this roster, then call Cherry Injury Law, www.cherryinjurylaw.com, because it's borderline criminal. That's the best I can do.
Next position we got up is right guard, because that's a question mark as well. And Dives, tell us. Let's break down what's going on at the right guard spot.
This one's fun. Like, I love the trenches. So Ryan knew this one. I'm very, very intrigued what happens at right guard. Leading off with Cam Jurgens, the Eagles drafted him to be a successor for Jason Kelce. Jurgens was a pure center, really with no college game experience at tackle or guard. He was amazing in his preseason games as a rookie. You saw him make really some nice highlight reel blocks. You saw him out in space, showcasing his athleticism. He looked a lot like Jason Kelce in some respects. But Jason Kelce was healthy all year long. Cam Jurgens was basically redshirted. And then you look kind of at Tyler Steen. He was drafted in the 3rd round, just 14 spots later than Cam Jurgens in 2022. Tyler Steen played his entire college career at offensive tackle at Vanderbilt and Alabama. The Eagles drafted him, but given his short arms, they decided to announce him as a guard. I think if there was a case for Tyler Steen to play over Cam Jurgens, it begins and ends with his athleticism. I think Tyler Steen has a body that's guard ready, while I think Cam Jurgens is still kind of working on that for the upcoming training camp. You look at possibly what their role is moving forward. We know that Cam Jurgens is going to be a very good starting center for the foreseeable future. Why not give that position to Tyler Steen at right guard now? Because he's probably going to be there for as well the foreseeable future. The other kind of against that would be, Tyler Steen, given his athleticism, given his pedigree, given his more versatility, maybe keep him as a backup tackle, backup offensive lineman, because he has that ability to play across the line. So it's going to be a really fun battle. Right now, I think Cam Jurgens is going to be the guy. But for me, it's really exciting. I think both guys have a real future in the NFL.
The trenches are fun. I'm a lineman. I always was a lineman.
Yeah, cool.
I stunk, so I couldn't go any further than really 8th grade, but I played in high school. But I stunk. But I still understand the technique, the form, all that stuff. And I'm pumped up for this matchup as well. I want to see. I think, like you said, Cam Jurgens will get the nod. And I just want to see the battle, but then I also want to get Cam some more experience so that he can possibly take over that role in the future at center, possibly, because they do bounce him around. And I love the Eagles, they keep the versatility on the line. You can move these people around, and it's one thing through all Howie's struggles in the earlier before and the different things, he always was steadfast on the line and stayed true to drafting good linemen with a great offensive line coach, Stoutland University. I just love the line. Ryan, anything to add on the guard position?
Yeah, I think it basically comes down to two schools of thought. Is, do you use Cam Jurgens and put him over at right guard, or are you just going to keep him simply as the backup center? But are you going to let him redshirt another year? Is he going to sit behind Kelsey? We're not guaranteed that Kelsey's not going to come back another year. So, again, what's the kind of long-term plan with Jurgens? And as Dive said, I'm glad that we have so many wonderfully talented and versatile offensive linemen. And let me tell you, it's probably one of the harder things to do as an offensive lineman to kind of switch positions, even if it's guard to center or right to left. There's a lot of technique that goes into when you switch. So the fact that we have such an amazing, coach in Stoutland that gets these guys ready to be versatile, pretty much everybody on that line can kind of play all over. And that's a credit to Stoutland. But yeah, I mean, again, it's going to be kind of a toss-up of whether or not you redshirt Jurgens again and put Steen in there, and because moving forward, potentially the year after, that it's going to be Jurgens, Steen, moving forward at center, right guard. So, again, there's a lot of questions there. Again, there's the Lane Johnson question. He says he's going to play another couple of years, but could Steen be the eventual takeover for him? So, again, these are all good problems, honestly. The fact that we have so much depth right now, we have a lot of versatility there, and yeah, it's going to be a really nice battle. I think a lot of people are excited because we saw about that much in Cam Jurgens, and man, was it great. So I think people are just kind of really hyping that up and really wanting to see that more. And I'm going to be honest, I do as well. I don't want him to redshirt anymore. I want him to get out there and play next to Kelsey and learn even more, playing in between two potential Hall of Famers. So I think either one, they're going to benefit greatly, just given the team, given the coaching, given the players they're playing against. So I'm excited about this. Is definitely one of my favorite battles going into camp.
Yep, Brett Toth and Jack Driscoll back there bouncing around in every position as well. So the line is great as usual. And for me, in our next position, we're going to go into running back. And I haven't been this excited for running back in a while. I hate drafting running backs early. It makes me so angry. And this is the perfect example because we just acquired two running backs from their former team. One was a first-round pick. One was a second-round pick, and now they're great players on our team. And I'm going to kick this off with first the signing of Rashad Penny. He's 27 years old. I can't believe he's 27. It still feels like he just got drafted 2 years ago. He's in year 6, guys. But he's been injury-prone his whole career. He's averaging just about 8.4 games per year. So low risk, high reward. Could be a steal, though. The last 5 games, he only played 5 games in 2022. He had 57 carries for 346 yards. For you fantasy people out there, he led fantasy backs in those 5 games as well. I think he could be a good opportunity. He could also not make the team. It's a low reward contract. I think there's only $600,000 guaranteed. Rashad Penny's a guy to look out for. The big trade, soon as the Detroit Lions drafted Jamar Gibbs, I think we all thought, could we get DeAndre Swift? Could we bring him back home to Philly? And Howie got on the horn the next day and acquired DeAndre Swift. He's played 40 games. He's had his injury issues as well. But I don't think he's really hit his upside as a runner. He definitely hasn't. But one element to the Eagles offense, which I think kind of nails that he's going to be the guy, or at least majority, is being able to throw the ball to the running backs out of the backfield. And in 40 games, he has 156 catches, 1,198 yards, and 7 touchdowns. In those 40 games, he's only started 16. So, to have the receiving out of the backfield back in this offense, we haven't really seen it at a high level in a long time. I think I got spoiled in the 2000s with Brian Westbrook. But DeAndre Swift, and then if you go over the last 3 seasons, the only running backs that are ahead of him as far as catches out of the backfield are Austin Eckler, Alvin Kamara, Leonard Fournette, and Aaron Jones. And Aaron Jones only has 2 more catches than him. So DeAndre Swift probably will be the one, but that's an underrated part about the acquisition of Swift. Moving over, also, we got Kenny Gainwell in there. Now, all season, he was the clear backup to Miles Sanders. But then the playoffs came around, and suddenly Kenny Gainwell got more tick. He averaged 78.7 yards per scrimmage in the playoffs. He outsnapped Miles Sanders. I think he'll just stay in the role he is, kind of that speed back, bring him in and out of the game. I don't see him becoming the full-time guy ever, and he'll probably move on when his contract's over to move on elsewhere. Also, you have lingering Boston Scott. We know what he is, just a dependable guy you can put in there, good reserve, play some special teams. And, of course, when we play them New York Football Giants, he's got to be the guy because he kills them every single time. There's Trey Sermon in there. He's kind of intriguing. Big college guy out of Ohio State. But I always question that signing because if we got him off waivers from the 49ers are a running back by committee machine. If they couldn't find a way to use him, I don't see it happening here. And then there's some rumblings of Kennedy Brooks, a teammate of Jalen Hurts. I doubt he makes the roster, but he'll be fun to watch in preseason. So I think, this offense, it's going to continue to be running back by committee with Swift getting a ton of the carries and or catches out of the backfield. It's going to be interesting to see how many they keep because you err on, will Boston Scott make the team? You got 4. They out they kept 5, but a lot of times that you just roll with 3. It's hard to put one of the you're not going to sit Boston Scott on game days paying him $1 million per year. So I wonder what they're going to do there. But as far as the starters go, maybe they cut I just said Penny. But as far as the starters go, it's definitely DeAndre Swift for me. Ryan, does the running back room got you excited this year?
Oh, 100%. Listen, I'm glad Miles Sanders had himself a year last year. We were doing our over-unders last year, and I pretty much guaranteed that he wouldn't get over 1,000 yards, and you proved me wrong. But, listen, I've always liked Swift. I've always liked Penny. And I think with the Penny signing, as you said, it is super low risk, high reward. If he can stay healthy, great. If you end up cutting him in training camp, it's not a big loss. And then it's obviously Swift is the guy for sure. And I think Swift will ultimately officially be the starter here when we, comes time to playing some games here. But I think I like what both of them bring to the table. And again, as you said, also Gainwell certainly seemed to get some favor towards the end of the season there. And he obviously is going to be in the mix. And, listen, you can't cut Boston Scott. I mean, we do play the Giants twice, so you have to have him for both of those games.
Maybe deactivate him until the Giants game, then bring him up. Keep your $1 million. We just need you for the Giants.
Perfectly fine with that. Perfectly fine with that. And then the intriguing, Trey Sermon. Again, a high name, Ohio State. I think a lot of people were super, super high on him, and maybe they're not giving him, all the time in the world to kind of come in and develop under the Eagles. But, again, he's definitely, one of those guys you have to keep an eye on. I mean, when it comes to running backs, the strangest names come out of nowhere. How many times have we seen where a backup no name that, nobody's even thought of, in years comes in and rushes for a couple hundred yards, spelling the injured starter. So, I think we have a really good room overall, regardless. And I'm excited to kind of see how it plays out. I really do hope Penny kind of makes that team. And you almost have kind of a three-headed monster in Swift, Penny, and Gainwell, because they can all do a little bit different things and kind of, harkening back to the old days with with Deuce and the three-headed monster back then, I think we could be in a similar situation come September.
Deuce, Buckhalter, Westbrook. Well, running out of time here. Philly press box is starting now as well. Quickly, Dives, anything to add on the running back position?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited for the two, especially when it comes to yards after contact. Both of those guys are sensational. Miles Sanders, not so much. I'm excited to see what they do. I expect Kenny Gainwell to be in the rotation, shockingly. I expect the Eagles to keep Penny and Swift fresh and ramp them up as the season progresses and get them going like December, heading into the playoffs because of their injury history. So I do think Kenny Gainwell could get a share of the touches. I do expect Penny and Swift to kind of have a balanced attack there when everything's kind of churning. So it's a really fun position to watch for sure. That's just my gut feeling.